Most people believe their future is determined by their potential, but potential is invisible currency. It has no spending power until it is converted into decision. You can have intelligence, creativity, passion, and opportunity, yet still live beneath your capacity because potential does nothing on its own. Potential is passive. Decisions are active. Life does not reward what you could do, what you almost did, or what you plan to do someday. Life responds to what you decide and act on consistently. Every result you currently experience is evidence of past decisions, not a lack of ability or opportunity. When you look honestly at your life, you will see that your income, habits, relationships, and confidence are all outcomes of decisions made consciously or unconsciously. Success is not random, it is predictable. People who rise are not necessarily more gifted, but they are more decisive. They decide to learn when others delay. They decide to act when others hesitate. They decide to persist when others retreat. Indecision keeps people trapped in preparation mode, waiting for certainty that never arrives. Progress begins the moment a decision replaces hesitation, because clarity follows commitment, not the other way around. Many people confuse intention with decision. Intention says, I want to, while decision says, I will. Intention feels safe because it demands nothing immediately. Decision feels uncomfortable because it requires responsibility. Once you decide, excuses lose their power. Once you decide, distractions become obvious. Once you decide, you are forced to confront the gap between where you are and where you want to be. That discomfort is not a sign you are doing something wrong. It is evidence that you are moving forward. Comfort is often the reward of stagnation, not progress. Your future does not change when circumstances change. It changes when decisions change. Waiting for better timing is a decision to stay where you are. Waiting for confidence is a decision to delay growth. Waiting for permission is a decision to remain dependent. Every delay compounds the cost of inaction. The longer a decision is postponed, the more momentum is lost. Momentum is created through movement, not contemplation. Even imperfect decisions create feedback, and feedback creates refinement. Those who succeed are not those who avoid mistakes, but those who decide quickly and adjust relentlessly. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It convinces people they need more information, more money, more validation before they act. In reality, fear is simply resistance to responsibility. Decisions force you to own outcomes. When you decide, you remove the option to blame circumstances, people, or luck. That level of ownership is uncomfortable for many, so they remain stuck in analysis. Yet courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act despite it. Fear shrinks when confronted through action, but grows when entertained through delay. Every significant breakthrough in life begins with a decision that contradicts current evidence. You decide to improve your income before the money shows up. You decide to become disciplined before motivation appears. You decide to grow before results validate you. If decisions were easy, everyone would live extraordinary lives. The difference between average and exceptional is not knowledge, but resolve. Resolve is the inner authority to move forward without guarantees. The moment you decide, your identity begins to shift, and identity change always precedes external change. Your daily decisions matter more than your dramatic ones. Small choices repeated over time shape character, habits, and outcomes. Deciding to wake up earlier, to study consistently, to speak with intention, or to manage your energy better may seem insignificant in the moment, but these decisions compound. Compounding works in both directions. Poor decisions repeated daily quietly destroy futures, while good decisions quietly build them. Life rarely collapses overnight, it erodes through neglected decisions. Likewise, success rarely arrives suddenly, it accumulates through disciplined choices. People often ask how to discover their purpose, but purpose is clarified through decisions, not contemplation. You do not find direction by waiting, you find it by moving. Each decision reveals preferences, strengths, and weaknesses. Action sharpens awareness. Stillness breeds confusion. The more you decide, the more refined your judgment becomes. Decisiveness is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Avoiding decisions weakens this muscle, making future choices even harder. Strength grows through use, not avoidance. Blaming external factors may protect ego, but it robs power. When you attribute outcomes to the economy, your upbringing, or other people, you surrender control. When you accept that decisions shape results, you reclaim authority over your life. This perspective is not harsh, it is liberating. It means change is possible without waiting for permission or circumstances to improve. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you decide to respond. That response determines trajectory. There is no neutral ground in decision-making. Every choice either moves you forward or keeps you where you are. Even choosing not to decide is a decision with consequences. Life does not pause while you think. It moves on and rewards those who act. The path ahead is shaped by what you choose to commit to today, what you refuse to tolerate anymore, and what you are willing to sacrifice for growth. The future is not something you discover later. It is something you decide into existence now. 5. Lu is the true measure of success, not effort, time, or intention. The world does not reward how hard you work. It rewards how useful you become. Effort without value produces exhaustion, not results. Many people are busy all day, yet broken progress because they confuse activity with contribution. Value is created when what you do meaningfully improves someone else's life or solves a problem they care about. The marketplace is always asking one question: how much value are you bringing? When your value increases, demand increases, and when demand increases, opportunities expand naturally. Money is simply a byproduct of value exchanged. It is not the goal, it is the receipt. Chasing money without increasing value leads to frustration and shortcuts. Building value attracts money without desperation. Every major breakthrough in income or influence comes from learning how to solve a bigger problem or serve at a higher level. When you focus on becoming valuable, money becomes predictable. The marketplace is brutally honest and emotionally neutral. It pays according to usefulness, not need. Understanding this shifts your focus from survival to service, from asking for more to becoming more. Value is not determined by how much you know, but by how well you apply what you know to real problems. Knowledge sitting unused has no value. Wisdom applied consistently multiplies impact. People who win learn to package their skills, experiences, and insights into solutions others can act. They communicate clearly, execute reliably, and deliver results. Value grows when competence meets consistency. It grows further when empathy is added. When people feel understood and helped, they recognize value instinctively. Mastery is not about impressing others. It is about making outcomes easier and better. The size of the problem you solve determines the level of reward you receive. Small problems produce small returns. Large problems create leverage. Many limit their income because they avoid complexity or responsibility. Yet complexity is where value compounds. Leaders, innovators, and high performers are paid more because they carry more weight and make decisions others cannot. Increasing your value often means increasing your tolerance for pressure, uncertainty, and accountability. The marketplace rewards those willing to think deeper, plan further, and act decisively when outcomes matter most. Value creation requires continuous growth. What was valuable yesterday may be average tomorrow. Skills depreciate if they are not sharpened. The moment you stop learning, your value begins to decline. Growth is not optional, it is maintenance. Those who remain relevant study trends, refine their craft, and adapt their strategies. They invest in education before they are forced to. Value-driven people ask better questions, seek feedback, and upgrade systems. They understand that staying valuable means staying curious, disciplined, and committed to improvement regardless. S of current success. Serving more people multiplies value. Solving the same problem for one person limits impact. Solving it for many creates scale. Systems, processes, and leverage allow value to travel further than personal effort alone. Teaching, mentoring, building platforms, or creating repeatable solutions increases reach. The marketplace pays premiums for scalability. When your value can be delivered without you being present every time, influence expands. This requires thinking beyond labor and towards structure. Value that depends entirely on your time has a ceiling. Value that is systemized has momentum. Value is also tied to trust. Skills attract attention, but integrity sustains demand. People pay more for reliability, honesty, and consistency than for raw talent alone. When trust is broken, perceived value collapses instantly. High-value individuals protect their reputation carefully. They do what they say, deliver what they promise, and correct mistakes quickly. Trust shortens sales cycles, deepens relationships, and increases referrals. In every industry, those who are trusted most are valued most. Character is not separate from value. It is one of its strongest multipliers. Communication amplifies value. Even great solutions lose impact if poorly communicated. The ability to articulate benefits, outcomes, and transformation increases perceived value. People do not buy features, they buy clarity. When you communicate simply, confidently, and with relevance, others recognize your worth faster. Storytelling, persuasion, and listening are value skills. They allow ideas to land and solutions to connect. Many are undervalued not because they lack skill, but because they fail to express it effectively. Clarity turns competence into currency. Value grows when focus replaces distraction. Scattered effort produces diluted results. Concentrated effort builds expertise. Those who master one area deeply often outperform those who dabble in many. Depth creates differentiation. Differentiation creates demand. The more rare and specific your skill set, the more valuable it becomes. Generalists compete on price. Specialists compete on results. Choosing what to say no to is part of value creation. Focus allows refinement, and refinement increases quality. Quality attracts recognition without chasing attention. Ultimately, value is a decision to grow instead of coast, a decision to serve instead of seek, a decision to take responsibility for outcomes instead of excuses. The moment you commit to becoming more valuable, your behavior changes. You study differently, work differently, and think differently. Value is built intentionally, not accidentally. It is earned through discipline, awareness, and contribution. When value becomes your priority, success stops being a mystery and becomes a natural response to who you are becoming. Earning more is not primarily a financial challenge. It is a personal development challenge. Income is a M, era that reflects who you have become, not just what you do. Many people chase tactics, strategies, and shortcuts while avoiding the deeper work of growth. They want higher results without higher responsibility. Yet life is structured in a way that compensation rises with capacity. When your thinking expands, your earning potential expands with it. Stagnant income is often a signal of stagnant growth, not external limitation. To earn more, you must evolve internally before anything changes externally. Becoming more starts with how you think. Your beliefs about money, success, and yourself shape your actions. If you believe earning more requires suffering, dishonesty, or luck, you will subconsciously resist opportunities. If you believe you are unworthy of abundance, you will sabotage progress. Growth demands replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. This does not happen accidentally. It requires intentional exposure to new ideas, mentors, and environments that challenge your current perspective. As your thinking upgrades, your decisions shift, and different results become possible without force. Skills are the bridge between intention and income. Wishing does not increase earnings, competence does. High income earners are often paid for judgment, problem solving, and execution under pressure. These abilities are developed, not inherited. Every new skill you master increases your value in the marketplace. Communication, leadership, sales, strategy, and emotional intelligence are growth multipliers. Developing these skills requires humility, practice, and patience. Many quit too early because growth feels uncomfortable, yet discomfort is evidence of expansion. Avoiding skill development keeps income predictable and limited. Discipline is a defining factor in becoming more. Motivation fluctuates, but discipline compounds. Those who earn more have learned to do what needs to be done regardless of mood. They manage time intentionally, protect focus, and follow through on commitments. Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. Each discipline choice strengthens identity. When discipline becomes habit, growth becomes inevitable. Inconsistent effort produces inconsistent results. Long-term earning growth is built on daily structure, not occasional bursts of effort driven by urgency or fear. Becoming more also requires emotional maturity. Many earning ceilings are emotional ceilings in disguise. Inability to handle rejection, criticism, or uncertainty limits growth. Higher income often brings higher stakes, visibility, and pressure. Emotional resilience allows you to operate effectively under these conditions. This means learning to detach self-worth from outcomes and feedback. It means responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Emotional control preserves energy and clarity. Those who master their emotions can lead, negotiate, and decide effectively, which increases trust and compensation. Identity plays a critical role in earning more. People tend to act in alignment with who they believe they are. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will unconsciously recreate struggle. If you see yourself as capable, disciplined, and valuable, your actions will reflect that belief. Identity shifts through repeated evidence. Small wins, kept promises, and consistent behavior reshape self-image. Becoming more is not about pretending, it's about proving to yourself through action that you are capable of higher standards and outcomes. Learning must become a lifestyle, not a phase. The world changes rapidly, and those who stop learning fall behind quietly. Becoming more requires continuous upgrading of knowledge and perspective. This includes studying industry trends, understanding human behavior, and refining systems. Learning without application is entertainment. Application turns information into growth. Those who earn more test ideas, analyze results, and adjust quickly. They treat mistakes as data, not failure. This learning loop accelerates progress and prevents stagnation even as environments shift. Environment influences growth more than willpower. Becoming more often requires changing what you tolerate and who you listen to. Proximity shapes possibility. Surroundings that normalize mediocrity weaken ambition. Environments that challenge and stretch you accelerate growth. This may mean distancing yourself from distractions, negativity, or complacency. It may also mean investing time and resources into rooms where standards are higher. Growth-friendly environments reinforce discipline, expectation, and belief. You rise or fall to the level of the environment you consistently inhabit. Responsibility is the price of growth. Becoming more means owning outcomes fully. Blame delays growth. Ownership accelerates it. When you accept responsibility for results, you gain control over change. This mindset transforms obstacles into feedback. Higher earners look for leverage, not excuses. They ask what can be improved, delegated, or systemized. Responsibility shifts focus from what happened to what can be done next. This proactive orientation compounds over time and separates those who plateau from those who progress. Sacrifice is unavoidable in the process of becoming more. Growth requires trading short-term comfort for long-term gain. This may mean fewer distractions, delayed gratification, or uncomfortable conversations. Sacrifice is not loss, it is exchange. You give up what is easy now for what is meaningful later. Many want higher earnings, but are unwilling to change daily habits. Yet habits are the infrastructure of results. Becoming more is not a one-time decision. It is a series of aligned choices repeated until a new level becomes normal. Consistency is the quiet force that shapes extraordinary outcomes over time. Intensity feels powerful in the moment, but it is unreliable. It depends on emotion, motivation, and circumstance. Consistency depends. DS on decision and structure. Anyone can work hard for a day, a week, or even a month, but few commit to showing up daily without applause. Results are not created by occasional bursts of effort. They are created by repeated actions performed long enough to compound. The world rewards those who can sustain progress, not those who start strong and disappear. Small actions repeated daily outperform massive actions done occasionally. A little progress every day builds momentum that intensity cannot replicate. Consistency creates rhythm, and rhythm reduces resistance. When actions become routine, they require less energy and mental effort. This allows growth to continue even on difficult days. Intensity burns energy quickly, often leading to exhaustion or discouragement. Consistency conserves energy by creating habits that operate almost automatically. Over time, these habits shape identity and identity sustains behavior without constant motivation. Most people overestimate what they can do in a short period and underestimate what they can do over time. This leads to frustration and quitting. Consistency reframes progress as a long-term process rather than a dramatic event. It removes pressure to perform perfectly and replaces it with a commitment to persist. Missing one day does not destroy progress, but quitting does. Consistent individuals focus on returning quickly rather than starting over. They understand that success is not fragile. It is resilient when built gradually and intentionally. Discipline is the engine of consistency. It creates action even when emotion is absent. Waiting for motivation creates inconsistency because motivation fluctuates. Discipline is choosing to act regardless of feeling. Over time, disciplined action produces results, and results reinforce belief. This cycle strengthens consistency further. Intense effort without discipline fades quickly because it lacks structure. Consistent effort builds trust with yourself. Each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable, capable, and in control of your actions. Consistency also sharpens skill. Repetition reveals patterns, mistakes, and opportunities for refinement. You cannot improve what you do occasionally. Mastery is the result of deliberate, repeated practice. Each repetition adds nuance and understanding. Intensity may expose you to the skill, but consistency refines it. Professionals are not those who try harder once. They are those who practice longer. This applies to learning, leadership, communication, and execution. Consistency turns average effort into exceptional performance through gradual improvement. Momentum is a product of consistency. Once momentum is established, progress feels easier because past effort carries forward. Inconsistency resets momentum repeatedly, making growth feel exhausting. Consistent action compounds like interest. Early results may seem insignificant, but over time they accelerate. Many quit before compounding becomes visible. They mistake slow beginnings for failure. Consistent individuals trust the process and remain patient. They understand that progress often happens invisibly before it becomes obvious. Momentum rewards patience, not urgency. Consistency reduces overwhelm. Intensity often leads to overcommitment and burnout. Doing too much at once creates stress and lowers sustainability. Consistency focuses on manageable actions that can be maintained long term. This creates balance and stability. Progress becomes part of life rather than a temporary push. Sustainable growth requires alignment with energy, schedule, and priorities. Consistency respects these limits while still driving improvement. It allows space for recovery without sacrificing direction. Over time, this balance preserves enthusiasm and prevents collapse. Systems support consistency better than willpower. Relying on willpower creates fluctuation. Systems create predictability. When routines are designed intentionally, consistency becomes easier. Time blocks, checklists, environments, and accountability structures reduce friction. Consistent people design their lives to support their goals. They remove unnecessary decisions and distractions. Intense people rely on emotion and urgency. System-driven people rely on structure. Structure outperforms emotion because it does not depend on mood. Consistency thrives where systems exist. Consistency builds credibility with others. People trust those who show up reliably more than those who impress occasionally. Reliability creates confidence, and confidence creates opportunity. Leaders, partners, and clients value predictability. Consistency signals professionalism and maturity. Intensity may attract attention, but consistency earns respect. Over time, consistent behavior becomes your reputation. Opportunities often come not from brilliance, but from dependability. Being consistently good often outperforms being occasionally great. Trust grows where expectations are met repeatedly. Consistency shapes long-term identity. You become what you repeatedly do. Each consistent action casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Over time, these votes form a self-image that supports further growth. Identity built on consistency is stable and resilient. It does not collapse under pressure or delay. Intensity may create temporary excitement, but consistency creates permanent change. When actions align daily with goals, progress becomes inevitable, not accidental. Consistency transforms effort into inevitability through time and repetition. Sacrifice is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Nothing valuable is obtained without giving something up. Many people desire success but cling to comfort, convenience, and familiarity. Growth requires trading short-term pleasure for long-term gain. Every breakthrough demands discomfort, whether it is in learning new skills, changing habits, or facing fears. Sacrifice is not a punishment. It is an investment in your future self. The choices you make today determine what you can enjoy tomorrow. Those unwilling to sacrifice remain trapped in mediocrity, while those willing to pay the price move forward relentlessly. Time is one of the greatest sacrifices, yet it is also the most misunderstood. People spend hours on distractions while complaining about insufficient results. Every hour spent on entertainment or mindless activity is an hour that could have built skills, relationships, or resources. Sacrifice requires redirecting time toward high-value activities consistently. This does not mean life becomes joyless. It means prioritizing what produces growth over what produces fleeting pleasure. Discipline over leisure today compounds into freedom tomorrow. High achievers understand that the moments sacrificed now are what enable massive opportunities, impact, and rewards in the future. Energy must also be sacrificed carefully. How you expend mental, emotional, and physical energy determines results. Many people waste energy on negative thoughts, unnecessary conflict, or low-priority tasks. High performers allocate energy to activities that produce meaningful outcomes. This may mean saying no to people, projects, or habits that drain vitality. Sacrifice is not about depletion, but about investment. Focusing energy strategically ensures you are not merely busy, but effective. Protecting energy is essential because execution is fueled by focus. Without conscious choice, efforts scatter, progress stalls, and opportunities slip away unnoticed. Comfort zones are perhaps the most subtle area of sacrifice. People cling to familiarity because it feels safe. Yet growth occurs at the edge of discomfort. Every meaningful leap requires stepping into uncertainty and risk. Sacrifice means leaving predictable environments and behaviors to pursue growth. It means enduring temporary stress, criticism, or failure in exchange for lasting progress. Those who remain in comfort preserve feelings of security, but sacrifice potential. Those willing to stretch beyond the known endure discomfort now to access opportunity later. Courage is an essential companion to sacrifice because discomfort naturally triggers resistance. Sacrifice often requires changing habits. Old routines that served limited goals must be replaced with new ones aligned with higher achievement. This can feel like loss because habits are familiar, automatic, and comforting. Yet without this shift, progress stagnates. Habitual sacrifice compounds daily results. Skipping distractions, studying consistently, exercising discipline, and prioritizing high-value tasks are all forms of practical sacrifice. Each small act signals commitment to growth. Cumulative effects of repeated sacrifices and behavior create momentum that transforms life. Success is rarely about a single heroic effort, but the aggregate of disciplined, repeated sacrifices over time. Relationships sometimes demand sacrifice as well. Associating with people who discourage ambition, normalize mediocrity, or drain resources must be addressed. Choosing to spend time with mentors, collaborators, and peers who elevate your thinking is a form of sacrifice. It may feel uncomfortable to distance from long-standing social patterns, but it is necessary to protect vision and ambition. Sacrificing social ease or temporary approval preserves long-term growth. Those who fail to make these choices often limit themselves through influence rather than ability. Strategic relationships are critical investments that multiply the returns of every effort and decision. Financial sacrifice is another critical element of growth. Many complain about lack of resources but are unwilling to invest in themselves or their future. Sacrificing immediate spending for education, tools, or experiences that increase capacity produces exponential returns. Deferred gratification is a hallmark of high achievers. They understand that money invested wisely is never lost, but compounds into opportunities, leverage, and freedom. Those who spend frivolously sacrifice potential. Every dollar allocated intentionally toward growth reinforces discipline, value creation, and capability. Financial sacrifice is not deprivation, but a tool to